Hello and welcome to another edition of Finding Your Frequency. I'm Brian Sexton, and today from B Consulting Partners, our guest is Joy Fulton. Joy, how are you?
Hi, I'm very well, thank you.
Good, you got a big smile on your face. Life must be good.
I try, yes. It's beautiful and sunny outside.
It is. It's a good time of year to be in North Florida, for sure.
For sure.
Tell me how you got into the world of consulting and what specifically B Consulting Partners is all about.
So I was on the trajectory to stay in, a traditional trajectory to C-suite, if you will, in a healthcare environment. And I'm an only child, and my mom and dad got sick. Okay. So I needed to figure out how to strike more of a balance of what they needed. And I'm like, you know what? I have a skill set and a network. Instead of staying in a more traditional 9-to-5, I think if I let my network know that I'm going to step out and start consulting, that I can launch my own business. And sure enough, that's what happened. That's how I got here.
And so B Consulting Partners is working in what space?
Well, so I find myself, thankfully I'm industry agnostic.
Okay.
So at the...
That's a nice way to put it.
It is, because healthcare, while, you say those words and people immediately go to more of the clinical side of things, so much of it is financially driven.
Right.
And obviously information technology being the whole wave of making sure that we can digitize health records and move information more seamlessly. I found myself standing in between the business and the technology developers more specifically, and being able to be an effective communicator to take what the business wanted to do, but break it down in such a way that as the developers were coding solutions, they understood the why. Yeah. Because I think so many times, business folks will just drop, like, I want this to happen, and then run out of the room. And these guys are sitting here being like, I can make that work, but I don't really know why we're doing it.
Right.
Can you help me understand why we're doing it? So I enjoyed that role. And
so you're a how and why person.
Oh my God, my mother, if she was sitting here right now, she would say, my entire life I was, but why? Right. To the point she finally just said, we're going to have to ask Jesus when we get there.
Okay. This might be the only show on the internet that talks about agnosticism and Jesus.
All at the same time.
Fantastic,
right?
I love
it. So I am a why person.
Right.
And I believe everything has some reason as to why it functions the way it does, and so I just kind of dig until I get that answer and feel like I'm on solid ground, and then begin to problem solve. So I was like, okay, I don't feel like that's just a healthcare skill.
Right.
So when I let my network know that I was going to do this, I swear, from my insurance agent, financial planner, my interior designer, they all said, can you come help me? Which I thought was fascinating. That they wanted me to step in and help them in their small businesses become more efficient.
Okay.
So that's literally what I started to do, was like, okay, well, let me put a scope of work together and a contract structure that makes it very easy to do business with me. I'll give you a definitive start date and a definitive stop date. If at any time in our engagement together you want out, it is a 24-hour notice. That's bi-directional.
Sure.
Because you may not work for me, just like I might not work for you.
Right.
But no hard feelings, right? So that's the business model I went out with, and I've been very successful in being able to help people become an extension of themselves, really, because I dig in to try to understand what your ultimate goal is, and then get us on track with a plan and timelines, and then hold folks accountable for that, and bring the research to you, do whatever I need to do in your goal to where you can focus on running your business versus your business running you.
Right.
And that's one thing I make very sure of.
Yeah, listen, my background obviously is in football, and you sound like a lot of coaches.
Yes, I do.
That I know. Is there a difference between a coach and a consultant? Maybe the coach yells a little bit more?
Well, I'll tell you, as an athlete, right?
Yeah.
So I played basketball from 6th grade all the way through college. And I use a lot of that training and the communication path between coach and player when I am dealing with my clients.
Okay.
I find that, athletics, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, whatever, is such a nice metaphor for the problem that you're trying to solve, or at least giving you a perspective to make it less magnanimous and something tactical.
Sure.
That I do use a lot of basketball and coaching in my communication style.
Yeah, right. So I like to ask people 3 questions to wrap it up. What's a defining moment in your life that helped you find your frequency, right? Who you are and who you wanted to be?
making sure that I didn't have to sacrifice my authenticity to be successful in my career. I think one of the things that's challenging for females, particularly in a male-dominated environment, technology being that, is we're coached so often in how we shouldn't share our emotions and how we need to communicate more concisely and how we need to really try to mirror what our male counterparts have done to rise to their level of success. I didn't find that worked for me. Okay. I have a big personality. Yeah. I have big curly hair. I'm very tall. Like I am loud.
Right.
Right. And so when I had professional coaches come in and want to kind of tone that down, and I have very bright earrings, and put me in the muted palette, I'm like, why am I a shell of myself?
Right.
So a defining moment for me was stepping into my own authenticity and not apologizing for it.
Yeah. Very much so. Yeah. And I'm glad. I like your authenticity.
Thank you.
Second question is, what was an obstacle? You may have alluded to it with your parents getting sick and your aunt getting sick.
Yes.
That may be the obstacle. How did you put that aside? How did you overcome that?
I think it wasn't so much as putting it aside. It was finding a way to, I'm going to say, normalize it in my day-to-day. So because of the consulting business, I had an opportunity to offer up a segment of my business that really specialized in dealing with the geriatric population. So I worked with the local Ponte Vedra Beach community in terms of assisted living and memory care, and helped get my parents to dry ground. But then when they saw how precise and accurate I was in transitioning them, they asked if maybe some other families could call me.
Okay.
I took that as a sign. Yeah. Right? So I was able to briefly do some work in that space while my mom and dad were going through it. Yeah. And that would be my advice to folks is if you find yourself standing in some place that feels like really unstable ground, take a step back and wonder why am I here right now? And do I have an opportunity to take my skill set and make it a business opportunity? Because then this thing that feels like it's so crashing and overwhelming, you're learning something brand new. And I met some amazing people and great relationships that helped me as another defining moment to be out of what would be my traditional element, but be like, I can also use this to make money and further my own business. Yeah.
You just gave us the last question too, advice.
Oh gosh.
You just did. I love it.
A twofer?
Yep.
Yeah.
You talk about efficiency, right? You help people be efficient.
Yes.
You just helped me by answering 2 questions at once.
Okay.
How can people find you?
They can find me at, my cell phone number is my cell phone number.
Right.
My email address is joy.fulton@outlook.com. I'm on LinkedIn. I don't have a definitive website, but through this particular situation, right? We got business profiles that'll link you right to me.
We're going to put all of this in the show notes here at the Daily News Network and get Finding Your Frequency out there, because what a great story you told today.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time on the next edition of Finding Your Frequency.